This is Aaron Murakami with A&P Electronic Media, and we're going to be. This is May 4th, Sunday, 2017, and we're here at Al Francoeur's Secret Lab up here in beautiful British Columbia. And coming up here on July 7, 8, and 9, here just in about 50 days or something like that, Al is going to be one of the presenters at the 2017 Energy Science and Technology Conference in Hayden, Idaho. The website for that is energyscienceconference.com. And if you want to learn a little bit more about Al Francoeur, a lot of his work has been online actually for quite a few years. And you've kind of laid low for several years and just kind of working on some of these projects in you know, the privacy of your lab. But you can find him on LinkedIn. And so here at your shop, you know, we have one of these pretty famous motors sitting right next to you. You know, kind of.
Yeah, EMA number one. Basically, this ever since I've acquired this equipment, I've gone through a research to find out what makes it tick, and it took a lot of work, and a lot of things have happened, which I won't discuss everything like we were talking earlier. But what I did find out was what causes the popping coil effect, what causes the splitting the positive, and how it relates to the power supply and the secret to the EMA technology. Which wasn't adequately explained in the past from all my previous findings. But today's different. Today, a whole bunch of new information came, and new findings were revealed, and that led us to the discovery. Plus, we had some interesting things happen here that also increased the knowledge of that discovery. And so we're here to bring it forward today to allow for humanity, for everybody's benefit.
And so a lot of your work in the last few years has focused on the EDGRAY technology, and you have probably maybe the largest collection.
Yeah, that I'm aware of, yes.
And if I just kind of turn this camera a little bit, we can kind of see. And that's really some of the motors and rotors back there.
Yeah. All in a stage.
The nylon one and the metal one, 3 rotors, and one of the rotors over there goes to the motor sitting next to you.
Yep, yep.
And so what years did you get these gray motors?
Let's see, it's been about 12 years. I don't remember the exact date.
Years. And you got.
You can just see online. You can actually see online. It's on there online, right, on the dates when it became available for sale when I first started. This one wasn't there, but those ones were, right, including the synchronous converter, the blue one that you see there. That's also depicted on the ZTEX video that's on YouTube. There's probably several versions of the ZTEX video depending on which one you look at. Some of them they break up the video, but I have a good copy of it in my computer that's complete from one end to the other, uninterrupted.
Right.
I'll show you guys that later, which I can't do here on this, you know.
Now, what is your background? Because I mean, you're not conventionally trained in electronics engineering or any of this.
No, I'm an adventurer.
But you've been into this for a long time. I mean, back in the 80s, you know, for example, met Gene Manning in Germany at one of the.
No, on the way to Germany, we met in Calgary on our way to Germany to the Hanover conference for Hans Nieper.
For Hans Nieper, and he's the one who has the book Revolution.
Yep.
Which was, I guess, pretty popular quite a while back. Yeah. And a lot of people these days in this field have never heard of it.
No.
And so, you know, back in the 80s, I mean, you were obviously interested in this. And what are some of the projects you worked on back then?
The carburetor fuel system that I have on the internet, which I showed you earlier regarding this vaporizer vessel right here. And I won't get into explaining a lot of that right now, other than you can actually look it up where I show everything about it, including the parts list breakdown, diagrams, schematics, the whole thing, so that people could carry on where I left off, and hopefully they make it bigger, better,
right,
with more resources than what I use. So basically, I'm, in my way, breaking the trail to find new discoveries with an open thinking mind. Mm-hmm. And so it takes how do you look at yourself? I mean, your mind. Are you open to these ideas? People have to find ways to get excited again. To want. Everybody's an inventor, and everybody's can use their mind if they allow it. They just have to decide to. And then if they do, the floodgate opens for unlimited amount of creativity, so that they can make the stuff themselves. They can invent their own processes, right? Instead of just always getting it from somebody else, they come up with their own, and that's what this is about. So I do these experiments to take it as far as I can within my ability, to a point that we're okay. Now it's time for everybody else to do it. Everybody else, at least take it and use what I've done. And if they like it, go with it. If not, I hope it helps make what they're doing even better. And then it's a win-win. And if more people did that, I think it'd be a better result for everybody. Mm-hmm. And it would help everybody get excited about this field.
Right.
You know. That's heavy. That's stainless steel. That's got a few pounds in there.
And so, besides the vaporizer, you also developed different variations of what you call the interference generator.
The interference disk generator is a device that allows for the production of electrical current with the reduction of back EMF through the use of a rotating magnetically balanced disk to create induction by interrupting the magnetic field in the air gap between the stationary coil and the stationary magnets. It's an evolving technology. I'm working on a proof of concept principle, and it's evolving into concepts that can be integrated from the EMA technology into the interference disk technology, also into the permanent magnet motor technology. So the discoveries that we now know about the EMA technologies have applications for anything in the electromagnetic field. So now I'm able to take this and look at how I can make better my previous technology. That's why now I'm reinvigorated with a lot of exciting ideas, because it comes in now. Now I can look at this and wait a minute, now the problems I had in the past can be swept under the rug, because now we have the means and the tools to unravel the mystery of electromagnetism and to make it run. That's the way it's intended. Ambient temperatures over unit design. So that's why you see my shop the way it is now, and all the technology is still here, and I'm doing everything I can to advance everything, because they all have potential. And I can't just drop one for the other when they're all got such great potential. So I'm working to try to bring it all forward, and hopefully it helps everybody else that's also interested in this field. Right. That have a look at what we've done, either support our work or support other people like us, or do it themselves and pick up where we left off. Either way, we want it to be a win-win for all of humanity, so that everybody can help change the world for the better and end the oil cartel's monopoly on energy. Right? So it's a motivating drive to keep me going.
Now the Ed Gray technology is definitely considered one of the holy grails in the so-called free energy field, where one of the motors when it was demonstrating so-called over unity performance was in the 350 times COP of like 350 or something crazy like that. And another thing that's interesting is kind of the Northwest connection. I mean, here you are up there in the Northwest. You have this collection here. John Bedini was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and he had met Ed Gray back then, and had released his notes after Peter Lindemann, who happens to live in the Spokane area, who wrote the book on that, and Bedini shortly released his notes afterwards. And there was the Crosby Institute, which was started by Bing Crosby as a think tank to solve a lot of military problems and stuff back in the war. Bing Crosby's from Spokane. One of the theaters is called
amazing.
The Crosby, the Bing.
So it's all in our neck of woods.
Yeah, it's all there, right in the Spokane area up here, and right here into BC. Just right over the border, and so it's like, what's up with that?
People just happen to synchronicity, like-minded, happen to work in or interested in the same field, happen to maybe like the same kind of country, trees, forests, that helps them inspire their creativity. So they get out in the country, they want to see the fresh air, the beautiful country. And I think when you do that and get away from the constant bombardment of programming from mainstream TV and radio, you got to be able to unlock that matrix so that and get back to sometimes go to the forest and take a walk through the trees and allow Mother Nature to bring all that information into your mind, and it all will come for the person who opens their mind to the all that is, and the information will dump in your head, and from there on you do what you wish. You want to make something good out of it or not. It all depends on the individual. In my case, I never quit. I've got a burning desire to see this through, and I haven't stopped my entire life. And so now it's we've got some good progress, and I've got some very fascinating findings, which no doubt is a link to solving the EMA mystery that's been carried on since the 1958.
Right. Yeah, and having that.
As far as I know, that's the year. If it went on earlier than that, then let's talk to Tesla.
Right.
Because he's the originator of the concepts right there.
Well, having that burning desire is definitely one of the keys, and
Yep.
unfortunately, not enough people have that kind of fire in the belly, and you're definitely extremely passionate about what you're doing. I mean, this drives you, right? I mean, it's, and but even with the Northwest here, I mean, these motors and some of this gray stuff was Norman Wooten had this,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
he's down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area
Yep.
in Texas, I think.
Yep.
But somehow, it kind of gravitated up here.
Yes,
anyway,
after that point, I became aware that they became available. Now, I understand that they looked through them all and they couldn't find anything, that was
Unusual
obvious to
or
them.
whatever,
Well, that's
yeah.
fair enough. That's, you know what, and I don't knock anybody for that. That's just how it happens. Sometimes some people can recognize, some people don't. It's all I know is that maybe it falls into somebody else's hands and he sees something that somebody else overlooked, and maybe I think that's what happened here. And so when it came into my hands, well, I was aware of these concepts actually before. So when I first saw them, something went in my head, and I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to make a move. I knew it was the right answer. Something was there. So it happened. I got it. I did what I had to do to buy them. So we got them up here, and from there on, the research gravitated and evolved year after year, in spite of the negativity I was receiving, because I was getting a lot of it when I had my earlier groups. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I closed them all, and just to get rid of the negativity and filter it out, and then give myself time and have a break and think my way through this for a few years. You see what I mean? And see what happens on the outcome. Now I've come to the point that where basically it's like the secret to the EMA system, which I'll talk to more about at the conference. But in a nutshell, the systems, we have to redesign the coils. There's a misconception in the model of magnetism. When we understand how magnetism truly behaves in a permanent magnet, it'll help everybody solve the problem. And that secret was hidden in the EMA system for decades. And when I look at the historical documents on the Z-Tex video, all the writings, and it's clearly shown that what I discovered now has never been described other than describe it as a popping coil, split the positive, to use vague language to describe concepts that I have now rediscovered today, to describe exactly what causes, what those effects are, and how they relate to the system. And that's what we'll do at the conference.
Yeah, so this is going to be some of the primary subject material of your presentation.
Yeah, I could go through that, and so it helps people get an idea of the X-vertex, the electromagnetic reflectivity, or Miriam symmetry, and how it relates to the EMA system, the power supply, and how the motors were really intended to be wound as standing wave pulse motors. So what we have now, when they rewound these machines, technology in the 80s, all that's got to be redone and rewound and go back to the way it was intended earlier. So it represents a true helix inside the primary, or I should say the rotor and the stator windings. So that's where we're going to evolve with this technology, back to its original intent. There we go.
Right. Is there anything else you want to share with anybody about any of your work, or just that?
Well, I think at the conference, I'm not sure how much you guys want me to talk about my earlier technology. I'll probably do a bit of a brief. I'll show a couple of shots during the introduction stage.
Some of the history of...
Just a little bit of, but it won't be focused on that. That's just to show people that they'll be able to get some photographic and a little bit of description during the introduction stage, so they can see some of the work that I've done in the past.
Right.
And if they want to know more about that, they can go look online and get the more details on the interference test machine or the permanent magnet dynamo. But I probably end up having to reload with the updated information, because the stuff I have up there in the past, some of it's getting broken up, the web pages changed, some closed here. It probably needs an update from there on. So but when that update comes, it'll probably come with a whole new set of data information as we rewind this whole coil transformer configuration to collaborate with the law of singularity. I call it the law of singularity because I think that's what's going to happen when this physics comes through, and they finally recognize what is being said here and what the discovery means, and how it's going to relate to changing the viewpoint on the electromagnetic phenomena. It's going to cause a lot of exciting people around the world, and that's what the power of this knowledge has when it comes out to help everybody with their technologies, because the applications will help everybody in this field, and it'll help them explain what they got. It'll help them design new machines based on understanding the concepts of what makes this work. And I think looking at mirror image symmetry, like optical mirror image symmetry is related to electromagnetic mirror image symmetry, that's going to help unravel that mystery. Understanding that a true magnetic field is in the shape of a helix. And I'll be able to show that in the presentation by taking you on a trip into outer space. And that trip into outer space is going to take you to the cosmos, it's going to take you to the spiral nebulas, it's going to take you to the cloud nebulas, galactic formation, and bring it back down to Earth, and we're going to integrate it, show it how it integrates with the EMA technology and winding coils and transformers to make them better than what's out there in the conventional world, if you will.
So when the audience, and eventually when the presentation is released and people are able to get the presentation online and they can get this out of that, are there any kind of simple experiments you might be able to suggest or recommend to people where, like the average?
I think they're going to. Yes, I think they're going to be able to pull that out. They're going to be able to pull that out of it when they're going to see what I describe in the power supply. They're going to get that. They're going to start to be able to visualize the kind of experiments. I won't be able to tell them specifically. They're going to get it, because when I explain to them what the splitting deposit is and the poppy coil experiment is and how it relates to the helical coil formation, right away, once they get the light bulbs are going to start going off in their head, they're going to be able to be a computer created machine on their own. This is what happened to me. It's going to happen to them as well once they finally realize what's going on here and how it really is. And I look at what I see I'm a bit of a cosmologist, astrophysicist as well, and that helped me figure it out, because nature is the teacher. We got to pay attention to the nature. Without it, we're not going to get it from the universities. We got to get it from all that is around us. We observe everything around us, what nature has provided. It's telling us. We got to open up to that information and interpret it correctly. And that's what I do as part of my research to finding the truth. They had to. Tesla knew. He knew by observing nature. Victor Schauberger knew his answer by observing nature. So nature's our teacher. So by utilizing the knowledge we get out of there and incorporating that information into practical applications while using nature's geometry and electromagnetic technologies, we can make the world turn. We can move mountains with it, if I can describe it like that. A little more information, I'll catch you quite a bit more will come out at the conference. So I'm not trying to say everything at once here.
Right. And you'll probably run into small friends there as well, who's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be
it'll be interesting. I think it'll be good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you welcoming us, up to your home and into your lab and sharing some of your work with us, and looking forward to seeing you at the conference.
Looks great to me, and I'm looking forward to myself, and thanks for the invite, too.
Thank you.
Thumbs up.
This is Aaron Murakami with A&P Electronic Media, and this is May 4th, Sunday, 2017, and we're here at Francoeur's secret lab up here in beautiful British Columbia. And coming up here on July 7, 8, and 9, here just in about 50 days or something like that, Al is going to be one of the presenters at the 2017 Energy Science and Technology Conference in Hayden, Idaho. The website for that is energyscienceconference.com. And if you want to learn a little bit more about Al Francoeur, a lot of his work has been online actually for quite a few years. and you've kind of laid low for several years and just kind of working on some of these projects in the privacy of your lab, but you can find him on LinkedIn, and so here at your shop, we have one of these pretty famous motors sitting right next to you. Kind of
EMA number one. Basically, this ever since I've acquired this equipment, I've gone through a research to find out what makes it tick, and it took a lot of work, and a lot of things have happened, which I won't discuss everything like we were talking earlier. But what I did find out was what causes the popping coil effect, what causes the splitting the positive.
And that's really some of the motors and rotors back there.
Yeah. All in a stage.
The nylon one and the metal one, 3 rotors, and one of the rotors over there goes to the motor sitting next to you.
Yep.
And so what years did you get these gray motors?
Let's see, it's been about 12 years. I don't remember the exact date.
Years. And you got.
You can just see online. You can actually see online. It's on there online,
right,
on the dates when it became available for sale when I first started. This one wasn't there, but those ones were,
right,
including the synchronous converter, the blue one. But how it relates to the power supply and the secret to the EMA technology, which wasn't adequately explained in the past from all my previous findings. But today's different. Today, a whole bunch of new information came, and new findings were revealed, and that led us to the discovery. Plus, we had some interesting things happen here that also increased the knowledge of that discovery. And so we're here to bring it forward today to allow for humanity, for everybody's benefit.
And so a lot of your work in the last few years has focused on the EBGRAY technology, and you have probably maybe the largest collection.
That I'm aware of, yes.
And if I just kind of turn this camera a little bit, we can kind of see.
You see there, that's also depicted on the Z-Tex video that's on YouTube. There's probably several versions of the Z-Tex video, depending on which one you look at. Some of them, they break up the video, but I have a good copy of it in my computer that's complete from one end to the other, uninterrupted.
Right.
I'll show you guys that later, which I can't do here on this,
Now, what is your background? Because I mean, you're not conventionally trained in electronics engineering or any of this.
No, I'm an adventure.
But you've been into this for a long time. I mean, back in the '80s, you for example, met Gene Manning in Germany at one of the.
On the way to Germany, we met in Calgary on our way to Germany to the Hanover conference for Hans Dieper.
For Hans